Hi guys, so continuing with my ongoing journey of exploration with the universe, I would like to share an amazing story here. Before I begin, I would like to ask you guys how many of you live in assumption and how many of you want to believe that your assumptions are right and you do not follow your inner voice. Let me share with you what actually I'm trying to convey, and perhaps you can then relate with your life and see where you are and what you are doing with that. So, I got into the first year of engineering and I got the place, the house that I wanted, the free house. Um, and here, and it is just 1 kilometer away from my college. So, it was a great start. And there were two challenges: engineering mechanics and engineering drawing. These were the two tough subjects, and most of the students had joined tuition classes. So even though we had great lecturers in my college, however, students used to bunk. So ultimately, a lot of classes used to get cancelled, and I was dependent on the lectures, college lectures, for educating myself. And also, of course, we do self-study, but the basic understanding I used to get from the lectures. And because of this situation, I recognized that I need to join mechanics tuition as well as engineering drawing tuition, otherwise it's going to be too tough for me. So I inquired, I checked, and I got to know there is this one particular sir who was the most famous near my college. Of course, I used to close my eyes every day in the morning, imagine myself that I'm there in his class, and we have some understanding as to how I would pay back for letting me attend his classes. I think 10 to 20 times in a day I would close my eyes and I would imagine myself having this conversation with him. And ultimately a day came when I was confident. I approached him and he said, "Yeah, you're welcome." So I used to stay back after the tuition classes, correcting question papers, or making certain notes for test series exams. So there were a couple of hours that I used to spend after my tuition class or before my tuition classes as a reimbursement for the services that he was giving me. So that's how I got into engineering mechanics. Now the next class that I had to get into was engineering drawing. So I check out, I get to know there is this one particular sir. His name was Dr. Jadav sir. And I went and I told him my situation, that I had got into college and I had my 12th standard sir, physics sir, Tekade sir, who actually supported me into this. I didn't even take his surname. I just said that I had a 12th standard sir who supported me to get money for my engineering college. And if there is any way in which I can, if you can allow me to sit in your tuition classes and I can stay back and I can do some of your work that you think I can handle. So he heard my story and he was like, well, you need to bring that 12th standard sirs of yours so that I can listen to the story firsthand. Okay, and also I don't think I am going to make the entirely the class free for you. You still may have to pay some amount. And I was like, okay sir, fine, all right. So I went back home and of course I did a lot of programming. So many number of days I had spent, so much amount of time I spent seeing myself successfully having this conversation, but it didn't go the way I thought. And I was assuming here that I have already put too much of pressure on my 12th standard, 12th standard sir, because he already managed the entire fund of my first year of engineering. It would be unfair for me to go and ask for more, because this engineering drawing sir said that he would not give this class entirely, he will charge a certain amount. So I was reluctant to share this information with my 12th standard sir. And every 2 or 3 months I would meet my 12th standard sir to give an update of how things are progressing. And I thought I would somehow manage on self-study with the engineering drawing. However, the truth of the fact was I just couldn't manage, and it was becoming too much for me. I was so nervous because one thing I was very clear, I had to score above 60 marks, and I have to clear all the subject in the first attempt. So, well, we were just left with 2 months before the exam, the final exam. The first year was not a semester pattern, it was a yearly pattern. And I meet my 12th standard sir, and he asked me like how things are going. Are there any subjects that you are finding tough? And I told him that there's this subject called engineering drawing. I'm finding it very tough. And he asked me, why didn't you tell me before? We could have found a way out. And I said, well, I was reluctant to, put more pressure on you. And he was actually angry. He said, you actually should have. This is such a serious thing. Like, you getting cleared in all the subjects with the good marks is very important. Anyways, he inquired with me the name of the sir, and he called up, my 12th standard sir called up his cousin brother, who was a HOD of a mechanical department. And this particular sir, Dr. Jadhav sir, was a HOD of the engineering drawing department. They both were good friends. And I actually ended up having a conversation with Jadhav sir on the phone, and he was shouting at me, why did you come back? Why did you bring your sir back? And you could have told me that it is, you are related with this particular sir, he's my very good friend. Well, cutting the story short, I joined his class just the last 2 months of his classes. However, by the time it was too late, the initial part of the drawing consisted of about 2D drawing, two-dimensional drawing, and the last chapter, which was one of the biggest one, was 3D drawing, and he was covering that chapter. So I didn't have the basics clear. So I ended up actually flunking my engineering drawing subject in my first year. So it was a very hard lesson. I mean, I had to learn in a very hard way, because I was believing my assumption that it will be too much pressure. And there was this inner voice that continued to tell me, you should go and tell 12th standard sir, and you should not give up on the dream that you would not get into a tuition class. I actually gave up dreaming. So I had learned in the long way. And so the lesson, don't give up on your dreams, howsoever impossible it looks, howsoever difficult it looks. Even if you don't have any resources, the resources can be, perhaps you are lacking money, you are lacking skill, you are lacking contact, you are lacking the experience. However, if you can believe that there is always a way, and the universe will show you the way if you would actually be persistent enough. So yeah, that was a tough lesson, and I think that remained with me for life. I'm grateful for that lesson. And yes, so that was about this amazing lesson that I learned, and looking forward to share more stories of my exploration with the universe in the upcoming videos. Thank you so much. See you.